Good evening, YouTubers, fellow reloaders, fellow everything else. Reloading Bench back with you once again. And tonight, on this extremely hot 100-plus day, we're going to talk about this very unique piece of history. I've been wanting to do this particular project for a number of years. And, life took over. Haven't been able to do it. And it's been a combination of timing, availability. The COOF didn't help anything. That added a couple years because prices for everything just got crazy. But our friends at Nighthawk produce what's called a Colt Nighthawk. And they took some Model 70s, newer Model 70s, and they essentially gave them, a fine-tune treatment and a nice refinish. And where I live, that is not an available option to purchase. And again, this was years ago, and you can't purchase it any longer because they're sold out. So you may find them on Gunbroker or through some private purchases or other, but you're not going to find them from Nighthawk. So I have wanted to do, we got a little preening here. I have wanted to do what I'm going to call a project gun. And I tried to find a, 1950s to 70s, and I came across a few, and price was, crazy. And for the freaks, this is unloaded. And prices were just crazy. So just got put on hold. But I finally found something, and it's both good and bad. Good in the sense that some people will say, why would you ruin the provenance of something so historical as a 103-year-old Colt 1911 to just give it some Nighthawk flash and bling? And to that, I would answer, to each their own. So I tried to find, again, what I would call a project gun to do this. And this, I think, meets that particular requirement. And I'd like to go over why I think so. So we will be taking this model of 1911 U.S. Army Colt 45 ACP apart, and I will show you what I believe makes this both unique in terms of, I don't want to use the term rare, but also a good candidate for what I'm going to call my project, my Nighthawk project, my year-long project. So we're going to call this the before, and we'll follow up in a year or so with the after. But if you jump out to Nighthawk's website and do a search on Colt Nighthawk, you'll see what the after will hopefully look like in terms of what they're going to do in the customization, the tuning. Obviously, you won't be able to see the tuning. They will be changing out the safety. They will be changing out the mainspring housing. They will do some markings, some cuttings, some modernization to an old piece of history. But I failed in finding a junker because this is not a junker. This actually is part of, and the reason I say part of, because there are things on this gun that are not. So that means it's not true to its entire history, but to much of its history it is. This is, at least I can say, this bottom frame is a Black Army frame, a Colt Black Army. And for those who don't or are not familiar, don't know, or are not familiar with what a Black Army is, it's just a simply, late production World War I Colt that they, the reason it's called a Black Army is because the finish was just a cheap, quick finish to pump these guns out towards the end of World War I. But again, the whole rarity is that after the contracts for the war were canceled in 1918, this particular model, the Black Army, became somewhat of a rarity. And I'll start with some of the obvious things that make it a Black Army candidate, and then I will go over what clearly distinguishes it as a Black Army. So I have a list of touch points to go down, and I'll cover some of them on the frame, some of them on the barrel, some of them it may not be easy for you to see or such. Like the U-notch on the sight. I don't know how clearly that comes across on the video, but all Black Armies, obviously the serial number. So this particular serial number, the first 3 digits, 612, according to Colt, put this at 1919. So this was at the very end of the Black Army run. All Black Armies will have the rampant Colt on the center of the slide, and again, you may see some on the rear of the slide. People have pieced things together, so again, how much of a true 100% Black Army is this? The fact that it doesn't have a straight mainspring housing indicates that that's been changed out, so that's more of a 1911 A1 feature than the original flat, straight, probably not the right word, flat mainspring housing. There's a couple of other, big tells on this. The Eagle Head S12, which you probably won't be able to see that, but trust me, that is the Eagle Head S12 proof next to the trigger guard. Again, flat mainspring housing, wide spur hammer, which this is. It's funny because this is one of the things that will get replaced with Nighthawk. Itty bitty spur on the grip safety. Again, I would call that an itty bitty spur. So I would say that hammer, grip safety seem to be true to the original, or true to this being, a 1919. The double diamond, these are obviously old grips, old wood grips, old walnut grips. Are they from 1919? Honestly, don't know. I'd have to probably do a little more research to count the number of lines and then see how true that is to a Black Army. Long trigger is another indicator. This is a long trigger. The biggest telltale sign, I'll hold off for a second. Let's see, long rounded hammer, we talked about that. Safety lock, thick thumb piece. Yeah, I still call that, I would call it thick and itty bitty, so I would say that runs true. The right side of the receiver is roll stamped with United States property. Some earlier you'll see it on the left side, but for the Black Army, right side with the second line being the serial numbers. And okay, we already talked about the Eagle Head S12, I don't know if that's supposed to be S12 or S17. Yeah, it looks like a 12. What else do I have on here? The top of the frame stamped with a G. This top of frame is not stamped with G unless we take the slide off, and I can't tell if they meant slide or when we pop the slide off, we'll take a peek. Left side is roll stamped with the 1897-1913 patent, which it is, all the way up to 1913. So it starts at 1897, 1902, 1905, 1911, and then 1913. And then there is a P stamped. Let's see if you can even see this. I'm guessing due to the lighting, you may not be able to see that. Oh, excuse me, an H stamped above the hammer on the top of the slide. Again, I don't know if this has such interesting focus. I don't know if that is actually being picked up. I believe this particular magazine should be a two-tone, so I'm thinking this is a late model replacement. I don't know how old this might actually be junky junk. This has an R on it. I can't remember if R is for Remington or other, but I'd have to look that up. And let's go ahead and take this down a little bit. Let's do a quickie. Short, I don't know if there was any particular markings. Again, from pictures I've seen, the stop looks, you know, I'm not going to say original. Guide rod, short guide rod. Again, I'm not going to say original. Spring, who knows. Old pieces. Come on now. There we go. All right, so let's see, is there a G? I see an X. I don't know if that's an X. Yep, looks like an X. So I'd have to do a little bit of research to see if that X is Black Army-ish. So I will say the slide is period correct for a Black Army. This may not be a Black Army slide, which again, another reason for this project gun. This particular barrel had a number of distinct markings, an M and a P on one side of the lug, an SW on another, and then a P on the underside. And based on what I could find out, the M just means it was Magnaflux, which is magnetic tested. The P is just a proof of mark on USGI barrels. This particular serial number, or this particular stamp, it's not a serial number. This 7791193 is the Ordnance Department part number. And the SW on this side of the lug, sorry, I didn't know if I was in frame or not because I'm looking at the barrel. The SW is a post-war replacement GI barrel. So again, that tells me probably not original to this frame and maybe this slide. But you know, that was the beauty of the 1911, especially in the war. Broken parts, just swap out, grab another gun, swap it out, kind of like an AR. So and the dark finish. Again, barrel had the same dark blue finish as the other components. Again, this is, you know, is this, you know, the same finish? Probably doubtful. So methinks I might have a later barrel. So again, hard to tell which of these pieces, you know, which of these do not belong to the original. But now we're going to get to the biggest and most telling sign that this particular frame is a Black Army. So I'm going to go out on a limb and I'm going to say everything here in this frame, from safety hammer minus our friend the mainspring housing, is Black Army. And 1, 2, 3, ta-da! This is the single most telling sign that this frame is Black Army, and that is the heart-shaped, I don't know what you want to call it, the let's see if I have reference to it. What's it called? Nope, but this is probably the single most telling sign that it is a Black Army. And I cannot find it in my notes here in terms of what this particular thingy is called, other than the heart-shaped. Ah, here we go. The receiver has the heart-shaped grip openings introduced after serial number 466, and I am serial number 612, so that rings true. That right there is the telltale. And if you look at the condition, we've got quite a bit of pitting. And that's unfortunate. So I hope our friends at Nighthawk can put wider grips on, or the when the oh, that's interesting. Looks like my screw housing didn't play nice, so I will have to take that out at some point, clean that up. Might as well take this one off while I'm at it, see if that plays nice. Whoops. Oh, that one feels like it's coming out as well. So again, 1919, this is 2022, so we got according to my math, we have 103 years worth of I got you! We have 103 years worth of age going on here. Yep, that one came out too. So both of these, you know, unfortunately. And I wonder if that's worth leaving in or taking off. So yeah, that's unfortunate about the pitting. Looks like a quite a bit of metal wear, which that's obviously not going to come out. But adds to what I will call the character of the firearm. So this is one of the reasons I do not feel so bad about donating this as a project gun, especially considering, God, I wish I was in frame. I'm too busy looking at it myself, especially considering what I paid for it. So I got my dollar's worth on this. This was cheaper. As I said, cheaper's not the right word, less expensive. As I said, while I was attempting to, might as well take this one out. While I was attempting to find a donor for the project, oh, well, that's okay. We were gonna leave that one in because this is so old. I do not want to F with it. As I was trying to find a donor for the project, the amount of money people are asking for old Colts, you know, old being 40, 50 years old, is absolutely ridiculous. So the money that this cost was cheaper than, less expensive maybe, than what, I'm gonna have to do this with other tools, was less expensive. This was less expensive than some of the newer old Colts. And, you know, again, because of model of 1911, United States property, I felt that this was a nice donor to pay homage to doing the Nighthawk custom. And then Nighthawk will engrave Nighthawk custom on there. And some people I've talked to are like, oh, that's so janky, gimmicky, pimpish. Yeah, whatever. To each their own. Again, this is a project for something that I wanted to do, and because of where I live, I'm unable to do that, or at least I was unable to purchase that directly from Nighthawk. So it is going to cost me considerably more than what Nighthawk would have charged for, you know, a 40-year-old new old stock surplus that that they had available to them to do this particular run, or to do the run that they did for the Colt Nighthawk. So I mean, it's a cool old gun. And let me pay attention to this so that I don't either break the camera or my eyes. It's a cool old gun that, you know, has seen better days. So I thought, paint, I thought I would breathe new life into it. So, as I said, you know, it's a project gun. It's not going to be a perfect gun, but I think the combination of the age of this particular firearm with what Nighthawk, some magic and not restoration, refinishing and fine-tuning in terms of either parts replacement, mainspring housing, grip safety, hammer. I don't remember if they do the trigger or not. Some internals, I think the bushing, barrel bushing, obviously a finish, I think it's called the shadow nitride or something along those lines. I just thought it was a cool way to bring new life into an old Colt. So that, and the fact that, again, most of the part, I'm not going to say most, some of the parts are just not original. So, you know, for people who are all about, you know, original, this isn't it. So I don't feel bad about doing what I'm going to do. It's not destroying the provenance of a, you know, a special, one-of-a-kind kind of thing. Yeah, it's an old gun, 103 years old, and I think sending it off to our folks at Nighthawk and having them do their magic will turn this into, you know, a family heirloom. So that's the plan, and part 2 of this will be, I'm guessing, sometime next year. So we'll call this part 1, with part 2 to come much, much later. And that is a wrap for tonight. Take care, folks.